Hello, everybody. This is Allison with Safety Education Specialists, and welcome to the American Heart Association 2020 Guidelines Updates. This video is for my Heartsaver CPR and AED students. So this is for my personal trainers. This is for my teachers, although teachers, you should probably do the first aid one too. But this is who this is geared for, and this is also geared for the general public who comes and takes a CPR class. This is probably what you're going to be giving. So, we've had some very important updates. I have been in webinars pretty much all day. I had a brief sojourn to Costco, but I was still in my webinar in Costco. The internet's a wonderful thing. But I'm sure I looked a little bit weird because those of you who know me know that I tend to interact with digital things pretty aggressively. So at some point I'm like, what are you doing? But that really wasn't the Heart Association. Amazingly enough, for my students who've known me for a long time, you know that I usually spend a lot of my time being very cranky about the Heart Association. I can't be cranky about them right now. They did a good job. I will go on the record and say they did a good job with this. I'm happy. They said that they took instructor feedback and things really into account, and you know what? They really did. Some of these changes, my students, you're going to recognize from classes that Fred and I have done over the years. And you're going to be like, wow, haven't we already been told this so many times? Yes, but now it's official. It's not just, hey, just here's a little CPR secret official. It's actually official, and I'm super happy. So we're going to go into the Heartsaver CPR and AED. Now, if you are BLS, this is not the video for you unless you just feel like knowing what Heartsaver is doing. But otherwise, please click here and make sure you go to your BLS video and get that update as well. So Heartsaver, folks, CPR and AED. Here is what is the same. 30 and 2. It is still 100 compressions to 120 compressions a minute. Your depth is still 1/3 to 1/2 the depth of the chest. Oh. Breathe a sigh of relief. The fundamentals are the same, but there have been a few little changes. The first one is the chain of survival. Before, the chain of survival kind of ended with, and you're in the hospital and everything is okay and la-di-da. Now the chain of survival is going to continue after you leave the hospital. The chain of survival now involves follow-up. It involves checking up on the person's physical abilities and recovery, as well as their emotional recovery. So I am so happy about that. That is a wonderful thing. They have recognized that we need to support people who've had a medical emergency that is severe enough to require hospitalization. We have to support them not just when they're in the hospital, but afterwards. And that need for support can last for months and maybe even years. So I'm very happy about that. That is a wonderful change, and it's very positive. And I'm glad to see that Heart Association is doing that. I am very, very happy. The next change, and again, my students, you're going to recognize this. Heart Association has put in the guidelines. If they have bulky clothing and you cannot get down to bare skin to do CPR, fine. When the AED shows up, though, no excuses. You have to get down to bare skin. The AED should have scissors. You should be able to get down to bare skin at that point. So they do emphasize you cannot use an AED over, under, around, or through clothing. So AED shows up, bare skin. Beforehand, it's a great thing. We love it, but it's a must-do when the AED shows up. It's a we'd like you to beforehand, but it's a must-do when the AED shows up. So that is a change, and again, for my students who've had us for many years, that's going to sound pretty darn familiar. We've been singing that song for a while. The next big change, and you guys are going to love this, for my infant CPR. Hi puppy. My puppy doesn't like it when I'm on Zoom calls. Hang on one second. Hold on. Hi. You wanna say hi to the people? You can say hi to the people. Come here. Okay. Ooh. All right. Here's Max. He's gonna help out with this. So, when you're doing, this is actually good that you're here because you can help. Okay. When you're doing CPR to an infant, you have a choice. You can do the 2-finger technique, or when you come to class, we're going to teach you how to use your 2 thumbs in the center of the chest. And you could also use the heel of your hand just as you would for a child. So you can now do it. Oh, here comes his sister and his brother. My lap's only so big, kids. I'm sorry. Pandemic pounds aside, I still can only carry one of you at a time. So you now have options for doing your compressions for infants, and that's great news, especially for rescuers who have arthritis like myself. My goodness, wintertime is so horrible to try to do your compressions, but now we have some options, and I am very, very happy about that. All right, let's see what else we can talk about today with you. I'm going to avoid all my first aid talk. I'm going to say that for the first aid section, you guys have quite a bit of changes. So make sure that you check out that video. I'll have a link to that in the cards because you need to keep up on that. All right, beautiful. So the last change for my Heartsaver CPR and AED people is the use of naloxone. The biggest change with the use of naloxone is that now we are recognizing that opioid overdose occurs even in younger people. So you can have, I think the biggest increase in opioid overdoses over the last 5 years was in the 15 to 25 age range. So even if you do have a person who is under the age of 18, please do not be afraid to use naloxone. And that was a bit of a question because folks thought, oh my gosh, even though you know that childhood technically begins at puberty for CPR, people were still hesitant to use naloxone on a person who was younger. They thought, my gosh, what if I do something wrong? This is for an adult, etc., etc. But Heart Association has recognized that unfortunately, even the younger ones in our population have been adversely affected by the opioid epidemic. So please do not be afraid to use naloxone for those folks as well. All right, Mr. Max, are you ready to say goodbye to everybody? Yeah? Okay, very good. Oh, he's so grumbly. Okay, so that is the changes for my Heartsaver CPR and AED people. Not too much, just enough to make it interesting. When you come to see me for class, I will be providing a mini update in there if you haven't already gotten your new certification. If not, don't worry about it. When you come in for your update within 2 years, you'll get all the latest and greatest. The only thing that I'm going to gig the Heart Association on for this is, shh, it's enough, Max, is that they did not release updated Heartsaver materials today. They released updated BLS, ACLS, and PALS, which is good. It handles my healthcare providers. But unfortunately, it means that you guys are not going to see a new video until probably spring of 2021. So I'm sorry about that. Oops. But that's the one thing I will gig the Heart Association on. Otherwise, they've done really, really well. So this is me signing off. I will see you later, hopefully for the Heartsaver First Aid video. All right, guys, have a good, wonderful, and safe day.